Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. As I film this, we're still in lockdown, so no classes, no training. We can't even get together outside in small groups and train. We can only hope that the situation is going to improve soon and we can get back to our normal routines. Just a reminder for our regular class goers that there are some free downloads available. If you would like to get those, then give me a message, send me an email, get in touch, and I'll get that link out to you. So last time we were talking about moving tension around the body to get rid of it, using selective tension, using the breathing. And as I spoke about then, we have this idea that when we suffer a trauma, physical or emotional, that pain, that memory, that stress can get locked inside the body, sometimes quite deep inside. We often see even people who take a physical strike, for example, in training or outside of training. Sometimes people take a hit and they sort of hold on to it, they fold around it, and it's almost like they gather it in, and then they want to sort of say, look, this really hurts, look at my pain, I'm holding my pain in. The Systema approach, of course, generally is to get rid of that pain in some way, get rid of that tension, get it out of the system, recycle it, or just throw it away. It's not really useful to us. And as I've said before, this tension doesn't have to be physical, because a strike can be verbal, it can be all sorts of things. It can be something you read on social media and you get this immediate sort of spike in the nervous system and you're adrenalised. You're sitting there on a laptop, but you're kind of adrenalised. So if throughout the day, I liken these things to a rock. Every time you get a bit of stress, you pick up this rock and you put it in your pocket. Chances are by the end of the day, your jacket is kind of weighed down with 2 tons of rocks and you're sort of walking around like this. Doesn't do us any good, we need to get rid of it. So we're going to go through 2 routines today. I'm just going to describe them. The description is very simple, they're kind of straightforward to do but not necessarily easy. The first one is working on our more superficial tension, what I call the sort of day-to-day stress that we get, and the second one works on a deeper emotional level. For the first one you need maybe 10-15 minutes. For the second one I'd recommend at least half an hour, maybe longer, to get through it. Why do we need to do this? Why do we need to get rid of this stress inside us? Why can't we just carry it around? Well, there's a few good reasons. Of course, stress suppresses our immune system. So from a health perspective, it's important. Secondly, and for me I think one of the most important, is tension usually acts as an inhibitor. So if I want to stretch out and pick that mug up, then from here to here, a relaxed movement, I can do it. It works better with beer, by the way, but this will have to do. So from here, I'm relaxed, I can pick up the mug. If I tense my arm up, now that's the limit of my movement under tension. So the muscular tension there acts as an inhibitor to my movement. Emotional tension also acts as an inhibitor. It might stop us forming new relationships, it might stop us going for a new job, it could stop us trying something new, something different, learning something, because this tension or fear holds us back. And of course in more extreme cases that can become a phobia, so people can't go outside, people find their behaviour restricted by this inner fear. Another way you can think of this is a kind of reset, a reboot, Control-Delete, we reboot our system. You know, like your computer gets cluttered up with junk files and all the rest. So we're cleaning all that away so our operating system can run much more efficiently. Also, it's freeing ourselves up of negativity, because these fears and tension and stresses, they rarely bring anything positive into our lives. quite the reverse. They can turn us into a very negative person. They can give us a very negative outlook. And that will, of course, will affect us. It will affect our family, it will affect our friends, and in general the world around us. Now, I should say at this point as well, I'm not a qualified doctor or psychologist in any way. So if you do have deeper issues, and sometimes, by the way, this type of exercise is very good for flagging up these deeper issues, because we don't always know that we've got them, right? They become such a part of us, it just becomes normal. But if you do have deeper issues, or this uncovers deeper issues, then you should, of course, go and seek help from a professional practitioner, whether that's a doctor or a therapist, whatever works best for you. Once you've gone through these exercises, once you've got the idea, then it's good to repeat them, particularly the day-to-day one. I would look to be doing that at least once a week, maybe more in particular stressful times, or if you undergo some sort of experience. And it's just a very good way of stopping that stress getting too deep a hold on us. If we leave these things layer upon layer, layers of paper, and then suddenly we've got a big stack, then that's much harder to get rid of than if we're working one paper at a time, one sheet at a time. The other benefit with this kind of work is we're sort of working on our nervous system as well, which most of the Systema training does, of course. It's very much about the nervous system. And this is important because we want to be in control of our nervous system rather than the other way round. What I mean by that is, in a stressful or a dangerous situation, you sometimes see people are completely taken over by their nervous system. They flinch, they freeze, they run, whatever it is. Now, these things may be okay, but they may not be okay in the circumstances. What you need to do, as we've said many times before, is rather than have a reaction to something, is have a response. We use our nervous system to power our response. In other words, we're kind of guiding it, rather than the nervous system just shutting us down completely. And I mean, I've experienced this myself several times. I remember, like, many years ago, there were certain types of situations where you'd feel invincible, right? You're sort of 17 years old and you're immortal, nothing's going to stop you. And other times in the same situation, you'd be like this, or you'd run, you'd be trying to hide. See, there's no control of what's going on. You're just letting your nervous system run the body. So as you get into this kind of work, even with the basic selective tension and breathing, we're already looking at regaining some measure of control over our nervous system. And of course, the more control we've got over that, the more control we have over our response in any type of situation. It doesn't have to be a fight, it can be a family argument, it can be anything. We can measure our response rather than just blurting something out that is only going to make the situation worse. So I think I'll stop talking there, and it's always a problem with Systema, right? Because there's so many things involved. You touch even on one area and suddenly there's all these offshoots you can go down. So I'll shut up now and we'll just get into describing the first exercise. So this routine should take 10-15 minutes. Of course you can extend it out longer, and of course if you haven't got so much time you can condense it down a little bit as well. And it's really the selective tension exercise we spoke about last time. So you find somewhere comfortable, you can sit, you can stand, you can lay down, but the important thing is it's nice and quiet, you're not going to be interrupted. Your focus for this exercise is totally internal. And you can start with the feet and gradually work up the body, and you inhale nose and you tense a particular body part or muscle group, you exhale, relax. So the normal routine might be the feet up into the legs, then into the abdomen, the chest, the back, the shoulders, the arms, the neck, face and head. Each of those areas you tense, inhale, relax, exhale, 2 or 3 times. You don't have to hold the breath for long at this stage. You go through the whole body, and then to finish you tense and relax every part of the body with the inhale and exhale 3 or 4 times. So having done that, if you've got an area of particular tension, let's say I've been sitting at the desk all day, which is not uncommon at the moment, and you know, my back is a bit stiff, my shoulders are a bit stiff, then of course I can use some movement to loosen those up. But if I'm doing this particular exercise, I'll go back to that area once I've done everything, and I'll really work on this area for a good few minutes. So again, I'll just inhale and tense, and this time I want to work in as deep as I can. I'm really going to tense the muscles as deeply as I can, and when I exhale, it's not just an exhale and relax this part, it's an exhale and you relax everything. And if you want to try and visualize or put that sort of aspect in, you can almost think of gathering this up as a big sort of red ball of tension, and then it flows out the body and goes away. So of course you can work this on any area of the body that you've got tension in. That might be through an injury, it might be through an illness of some sort, or it might just be through some everyday stress. Once you've done that, then come back to the whole body again. Inhale, tense, exhale, relax. But this time it's just kind of a light tension. You should almost feel when you inhale, the tension is more like a lifting, floating, and then again you exhale, relax. So this is not a deep kind of tension this time, more an expansion, out and then relax. So a few times running through that kind of feeling, and then you finish by standing, sitting, lying, whatever you're doing, just quietly, just for another couple of minutes, and just focus on the breathing now, the circular breathing, inhale nose, exhale mouth. Let the body really relax. If you're lying down, think about the body sinking into the surface below you. If you're standing or sitting, then think of being suspended from above, so the whole body just sort of hangs from that suspension, if you like. Of course, don't slouch, we keep form, but the bones are just sort of hanging there, and you let all the tension drain away down into the feet and out away into the ground. Once you've done that, then you can slowly come round, you can open the eyes, and you just move around a little bit, just a little bit of stretching, twisting, joint rotation, whatever you want to do, and you should be ready to go back to your normal day. So the second method, as I said, takes a little bit longer. I'd allow at least 30 minutes, and it's very important you have a time and a space that are quiet, private, comfortable, warm. Somewhere you feel secure. That's very important. You may need a couple of other things for this exercise. A blanket is good, and it's good also to have a sort of hot drink after, so maybe you could have that on standby or have that prepared. We start with the same routine as before. We're working all around the body, and we're working on that surface muscular tension. Again, if there's any specific area you need to work on, you can do that as we've just done. What we want to do now is start working a little bit deeper. So we need to think about something as stress. It could be the current situation, it could be something that happened to you a few weeks ago, it could be something that goes all the way back to your childhood. And what we need to do is focus on that experience to the exclusion of everything else. Let's say I'll pick something, for example, I was out once and someone slapped me around the face, and it was very humiliating, and I felt very angry and very upset. Okay, so that's our scenario. So what I need to do is put myself back in that scenario. I need to feel the slap, and more importantly, I need to feel my emotional state at the time. What was that doing to my nervous system? What was that doing to my psyche? How did I react? What was my experience? My internal state, if you like. And I really need to feel that. I really need to make that very vivid in my mind. Now, as I do that, I also need to be a little bit detached from this situation bit. So we can be experiencing something, and at the same time we can be a little bit detached from it and be observing it. So the observing part of my brain now is scanning my body. How does this emotional experience affect the body? Is this happening, for example? Is there some breathing going on? And my shoulders hunched up? So that's the area where this emotional tension lives, if you like. So that's the area I need to focus on. So if it's here, I'm experiencing the emotion from that situation, I'm feeling the tension here, so this is where I now start to work. So I can gather all that tension in again, and I can work to start letting it go. Now, it might be sharp breathing, it might be slow breathing, you might massage, you might gather the tension and throw it away, whatever works for you. The important thing is that you don't feel at all inhibited in your response. If you need to cry, you cry. If you need to laugh or shout, you do that. If you need to thrash around, whatever it is to get this deep-seated tension out of your system. That's why it's very important you do this in a secure place. Now, that might take 2 minutes, that might take 20 minutes. You might find as you peel away one layer, another layer reveals itself underneath. You might find you want to go into that, or you might find, no, that's enough for today, I'll just keep it there, I'll come back to that later. Because this isn't a process you should rush. So when you feel ready, when you feel you've got rid of at least that layer of emotional tension, then you just come back to the selective tension exercise again, the nice and light one, all around the body, each part of the body, then the whole body again, and you just rest. I recommend laying down is probably the best thing now, and you just let the body become heavy and sink and relax. And if you want to focus on something, you can just focus on the breathing. You can do circular breathing, ladder breathing, whatever it is. But hopefully by this stage, your body and mind will automatically be working together anyway. You shouldn't have to concentrate too much. So let everything relax, let it all go, and when you're ready again, just sit up, do a little bit of movement if you want to. I then advise you put the blanket around yourself, you have your hot drink, and you just sit 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is. You don't have to think about anything, you don't have to do anything, you just be. You just be in the moment, you be in the experience, and you kind of feel in your body and your mind now, everything's alright. We've got rid of that, now we can move on. Once you're finished with that, and you're done, then again, you're ready to get up and go back into your normal day. But don't rush into anything after this. It's good to do this when, I want to say when you've got a day off work, but at the moment that's every day, right? You know, if you do this and then you've planned a nice relaxing evening perhaps, don't do this then rush out and go straight back to work or to some frenetic activity. Use this as the start point to take a whole evening to yourself or afternoon or whatever it is. Treat yourself, be nice to yourself. So that's the solo version of the emotional release exercise. It's something you might want to do every now and again. You don't have to do it every week or every month, but if you get to a point where you're feeling overwhelmed by events or something triggers something, because what you find sometimes is a particular event can trigger something that happened years back and all that stress comes flooding back as well. So in those type of situations, this is a very good exercise to do. Now, that's the solo version. There are, of course, partner versions of this as well, which I'm sure a lot of you will have experienced. Most notably in Systema, it's done through the striking work, what we call cracking the shell without damaging the contents of the egg. And people often see the striking work as some kind of tough, macho display, or look how hard I can hit, or look what a hard punch I can take, when in fact that work is all about this emotional release. Dealing with fear, dealing with tension, of course. So the striking work is one way. Massage is another very good way. There was a clip up on YouTube a while back from Moscow of a guy undergoing the stick massage and other forms of massage, and him experiencing, releasing, he had some very bad childhood experiences, so you see him undergo this process. And if you can search for that on YouTube and take a look, it's not easy watching because it's quite distressing at times, but it is beautiful to see this man let go of all this agony, really, this deep-seated pain. It's a nice experience in that sense. So I hope you give that a try, and I hope you find it beneficial. If you find yourself getting a little bit overwhelmed during that process, you're always free to come out of it. The important thing to remember is you're in control of the situation. So feel free to step out, come back to some normal breathing and movement, whatever activity helps. If it does expose some deeper underlying issues, never be worried about asking for help. Find an experienced person in whatever field it is. It could be a therapist, could be a Systema teacher, could be a priest or similar. Never be worried about going to people for help, because we all need help at certain times. We all carry things inside us from our negative experiences, and one of the hidden gems of Systema, I think, is its powerful ability, very simple but very powerful, to unlock this negativity and flush it out, get it out of our system to help us get rid of it, and then we can move on with our lives and become more positive people. So thanks for listening, stay well, and I hope I'll see you soon.